All right, we are live doing recording. You guys will see this later. Anybody watching this video later on, I really do appreciate you guys. We are on right now doing an interview with Brittany McManus, the Signature Series Director at CGC. I want to thank you so much for jumping on with me. It's really, I'm really excited to be here with you just because CGC is one of my favorite companies. And I love getting whatever I can get out. Something by CGC is very exciting, and I love to put it up on my walls and everywhere I can. So thank you so much for joining us. It's one of those things where I really want to have you on to kind of go over some things about CGC. I get a lot of questions regarding CGC, and I can't always answer them because, well, I don't work for CGC, so I really don't know all the ins and outs. So having that said, Brittany, would you mind just telling us who is CGC?
Yeah, absolutely. CGC is the first independent third-party comic book grading company. We started in 2000, and we are part of a larger company called CCG, Certified Collectibles Group, which also does coins, paper money, and comic books. So CGC is just one division of that larger collectibles group. Wow. As I mentioned, we've been in business since 2000, so this is our 20th anniversary, and we have graded over 6 million collectibles.
Oh, wow. That is quite a bit. And you mentioned, 2000, which is when I graduated high school. So now I'm kind of feeling old. But having that said, well, that's awesome. I actually didn't know some of what you just mentioned, which is great. I actually, when I think of CGC, I've always thought about comics. So the fact that you mentioned, all these different things, that's fantastic. Actually, that's really, really cool to know.
Yeah, comics is not even the largest division of the company. Wow. I would say that our coin company is probably a larger section than the comic division. So wow. Yeah, we're part of a much bigger organization.
That is really cool. I did not know that. That's fantastic. Now, Brittany, I know you kind of mentioned some of it. I don't know if there's even any more you can say about this, but I know my next question for you was, what services does CGC currently provide? And I don't know if you want to just kind of mention and you can mention whatever you want. I don't know if you want to mention just more toward the comic side of things, but yeah.
Yeah, no, CGC, our main service that we provide is grading your comic books. We have a number of different tiers that you can submit under based off the value of your comic book. But we do offer a couple other services like pressing. That's offered by CCS, our sister company. And they offer pressing, restoration removal, and restoration on books if you so choose to have that done to your book. And then we offer signature series, which is basically just having an artist or creator sign a comic book that you want to have graded. So we offer signature series, pressing, but the main thing that CGC does is grade comic books.
Awesome. I know that we mentioned, we talked prior to the show just a little bit, and I had mentioned how, signatures right now are fantastic. I love getting books signed by a certain artist, especially if it's an artist that I obviously like and a book that I'm very excited about, which I do have a couple that can't wait to get because, well, like I said, it's a very exciting time. And I can see how signatures right now are they're just booming, especially with the artists and the writers and everything else. But I think it's a fantastic service that you guys provide. You get I don't know, there's something about getting the yellow label that gets you even more excited. I don't know, I think a lot of people agree with me, but my next question, Brittany, I know that, you handle the signature series and there's a lot of different things that go on. Are there any future events coming up that you guys have mentioned on the website, or that?
We have quite a few artists that we are still planning to roll out and announce this year. And I plan to have everybody that had an in-house signing this year have one again next year.
Awesome.
Plus, on top of that, adding in even more artists. And I say this often whenever I get a chance to tell people or customers, if you have suggestions on artists that you haven't seen yet, but you would like to see, I'm open to all suggestions. We are doing these in-house signings and offering the signature series for the fans and for the customers. You know, shows aren't happening right now. And even when shows start back up, I think this is still a great way for people who don't want to go back to a Comic-Con, or maybe never went to Comic-Cons to begin with, but love comic books and love those artists and want them signed. This is a great way, whether you attend a show or not, to still get your book signed and still kind of have some interaction with a comic book artist that maybe you wouldn't normally have that interaction with. And so I plan to redo all of this again in 2021.
Awesome.
But probably double, hopefully double as many people.
That's awesome. It's, I don't know, it's just such a cool thing. You know, you guys hold some awesome events. I've seen you guys have had some great live videos of different artists and stuff on Instagram, which I'm constantly watching. I think you've done a ton of interviews, actually yourself on your YouTube, on the YouTube channel, with some great artists. I mean, I want to say you had a sit down with Stan Lee. And I was watching that one. I think it was like 2 days ago, actually. And it's just so cool. I mean, I feel like you have a great job. You know, you get to meet all these people, and it's just really cool. Which actually brings me to my next question, which was, you know, what are some of the best parts of working for CGC? I mean, you must have so many different things that you enjoy.
I have been with CGC for almost 8 years. So yeah, I definitely love it. No 2 days are really ever the same. I love all the opportunities that CGC has given me in terms of, you know, I've traveled to so many different shows. I've met so many different artists. I've met so many people in the industry that I just never would have ever probably been in contact with.
Right.
I would say that, you know, one of the best things about CGC is the company itself just cares about their employees. I've been through a lot since I've been at CGC, and there's never been a time that the company hasn't like looked out for me personally and made sure that, you know, I was okay. And they do that for all their employees. That's so great. Take the cool job away of getting to work with comic books all the time, or work with creators all the time, or get to travel all the time. Take all that away, and you're still left with a company that really cares about your well-being, your life in general, your quality of life, and its employees like no other company that I've really worked for before.
That's fantastic. I honestly, I feel like can sometimes be hard to find, you know. In fact,
I agree. I haven't had it until this time, and I've had quite a few jobs before. And I think that that's really, at the very end of the day, what keeps me, is that I just feel valued and I feel cared about. And on top of that, the job's amazing.
Right, exactly. It always helps when we look forward to going to work. You know, I think that a lot of us have had those jobs where we've had a job because we need to pay bills, but we don't necessarily look forward to getting up and going to work. So the fact that you have something that, you know, I'm sure you get up and you say, well, you know, it's a great day. It's another day. I can't wait to go in. You know, I'm sure that every job has its tough time, but you know what? It's how what the company does to make you feel, I guess, you know, not just wanted, but appreciated, which makes a big difference, you know. Definitely.
It makes, you know, I think that everybody that works at CGC, they work long hours. The receiving team oftentimes, I should say, is working 6 days a week, 12-hour days, just to receive everything that comes in. So the people at CGC, and all the companies, they really put in crazy amount of hours, and I feel like the company never takes that for granted, that they're always, you know, letting us know how grateful they are and hooking it up with lunches and dinners, and, you know, they just really take care of their employees.
That's great. That's right. I had a job. I had 1 or 2 jobs like that in my career, which is I miss that type of environment. But that's a whole different interview. All right, Brittany. One of the questions is, you know, and there's a lot of questions that I think a lot of people are not sure about. And I know that actually, you were very helpful with answering some of my questions. And one of the questions is, can I send multiple in-house signing submissions in one box?
Absolutely you can, and you definitely should. There's no need to spend more money on shipping than is absolutely necessary. I always suggest, unless like a deadline is coming up and you have to get it in for that deadline, you send in as many submissions as you can in one box, as many as will safely fit in the box. Don't be not safe about it. But yeah, you can send in Blue Labels, Sig Series all together in one box. As long as the submission forms match up with the books, it doesn't matter if they come in one box. And you should do that. That's just smarter, and it saves money.
Exactly. That it makes sense. And that's actually a question that I actually would have had myself, because I feel like if I'm sending something in to anybody that does anything, to CGC, is the fact is, like, do I send them separate? Because I think as a collector, you also get kind of worried, like, do I exactly. But like you said, as long as the submission form matches what you're sending in, there won't be an issue. And obviously, as the individual sending the books in, the only thing you got to make sure you're doing properly in our end is to make sure you package the books correctly. That way they get to CGC in the same way that, I'm sending them out. So
I always suggest, when sending books through the mail to CGC, you wrap your books like you would if you were shipping fine china, and you expect that somebody's going to play soccer with that package.
Exactly.
You pack it like fine china that somebody's going to play soccer with, then you should be okay. But
I completely agree.
And you can't be safe.
I tend to go overboard with my packages. I think I put cardboard, I put bubble wrap, way more bubble wrap than I need to. And I don't know if you heard my dog is barking in the background. I do apologize if that's going through that. You know what? Quick question. How do you feel about, and this is a little bit off, but when we're talking about packaging, personally, bubble wrap, peanuts.
Bubble wrap.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we have a CGC ship kit that we created for up to 10 books, and then another kit for up to 40 books.
Oh, cool.
Even if you don't buy the ship kit, which you should, they're not expensive, and they're super, super, like, very easy to use. They're how we would ship books ourselves, like from shows. Awesome. Even if you don't use one, we still have a video on how to pack your books to send to CGC, and it's so useful. You can try to follow along with what you have at your own house. But it just gives you tips on, like, here's how to wrap the books, and then you want to put them inside cardboard, and then you want to bubble wrap them, and then a box and a box. And it just gives the steps on really the best way to package your books. And I can provide the link, but it's on our YouTube page.
Awesome.
And very, very helpful.
That's good to know. And I won't get into the next thing on my mind, but I'm sure that you guys have gotten some really interesting ways of getting packages packaged for you guys. We won't get into that, but I'm sure that there's some interesting stories there. All right, my next question, Brittany, is how do I request a first appearance for a character for a certain book?
So there's been a lot of first appearance requests recently into CGC. Any new modern book that comes out, if it has a character that's not currently being notated in the key comments, you can actually just write out a note, like on a Post-it, and put it on the book that you're sending in. And we will submit that to the graders, who will decide amongst themselves whether or not they want to enter that into the key comments. The graders, all first appearance and key notes on the labels are at the discretion of the graders, but you can send in a note yourself and request something. For example, hey, I think this book is the first appearance of Thor's dog, and it's not notated on the label. They'll do their due diligence, and if it is in fact the first appearance, then they will notate that on the label, and if not, then they'll leave it as is and send it on through.
That is really cool, because it's actually something that I actually did not know. And it's something that I'm glad to know, because in the future, who knows, there's many things that I probably will want. So, well, thank you for answering that one. Next question, Brittany, is what kind of defects can pressing help?
Pressing is a phenomenal process that can help get out non-color breaking defects. So dirt and bends and spine stresses that don't break color, pressing can improve. Color breaking defects, pressing, there's nothing that can be done once a defect breaks color on a comic book.
I completely agree with you. And I do want to emphasize to a lot of people out there, because I've actually gotten this question asked to myself constantly, which is about, will pressing help color breaking? No, once that's there, that's it. You're not gonna, pressing is not gonna help bring back color or help bring, that aspect of it. But it will help out.
I was wondering what color breaking even means, because I didn't know what that was until I started at CGC. But if you have a small bend or tick on your book and you can see white, that means that the ink that was there has broken color and you're seeing the white underneath and the inks aren't flat anymore. So that's how you can tell whether or not something's breaking color.
And no amount of pressing, guys, will help that. So just remember that, because I feel I get that question asked constantly, and I do tell everybody, once that happens, the pressing won't help, unfortunately, but it will help a bunch of other stuff, which is fantastic.
Yeah. It really does aesthetically improve the overall look of a book.
Definitely. I mean, I've seen books definitely jump up in grade quite a bit once a great pressing job is done. So, pressing is, I always recommend that if you have a book that you really like and you feel that should be pressed, it can't hurt to press.
Yeah.
So
yeah, agreed.
Might as well do it. All right, Brittany. Next one up. If I have a signature series book, can I crack it out of a new signature?
You cannot crack out signature series books on your own. If you want to send in a signature series book to be signed at one of our in-house signings, you definitely do not want to crack it out. You want to send it in the holder. If you were to crack out a signature series book and you're not CGC or a facilitator, that first signature that was on there is no longer authenticated once it's been cracked out. So definitely just send them in as is in their holders. We will crack them out for you. It'll be faster that way, safer, and you won't risk losing your signature.
No, definitely. And I agree with you. And I mean, on the other hand, as a plus, you sending it in still in the slab, you got that protection, right? So you don't have, I think that's a big reason why I would want to send it in.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Even if it's not a signed book, even if it's a blue label book and you're sending it in regrading, send it in the holder. Don't crack it out.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. I won't keep you too much longer, Brittany. I promise. I know you're a very busy individual, way busier than me, I'm sure.
No, I'm so happy to be here.
What's that?
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I am glad for you to be here. Just a few more questions, Brittany. So if I have a label error, how do I get it fixed?
So if you have a label error, you can email our customer service team. Their email is service@cgccomics.com, and they will send you very simple instructions on how to send your book back in to be fixed. Awesome. It's super easy. We will take care of it. If it's a label error, we handle it and we reholder it completely free of charge.
Awesome. That's really simple. So I don't see why somebody wouldn't do it. That's great. All right, Brittany. Let's see. Next question for you is, do I need a paid account to submit?
So you do need a paid account to mail your submissions into CGC, with the exception being that if there's a show going on, which there isn't right now for this year, but if there normally was a show going on, you can drop off at a show. So you can fill out an online form and select drop off at that show, and you don't have to have an account to do so. You also do not need an account to submit to the private signings that we're having. So any of the in-house signings that are being offered, those you do not have to have a paid membership to sign up for. And the CGC online form makes it really easy. When you're logged in, the options of how to send it in are clearly there for you. If it's not grayed out and it's an option, that means that your account is paid and you can mail into headquarters or send in for a private signing. The options that you can't use will be grayed out if you don't have a paid membership. But without a paid membership, you can still send in for all of the CGC in-house signings.
Awesome. You actually answered my question, and you answered my following question, which was going to be, how can I submit with an account?
I'll also tell you now that if you do sign up for a CGC paid account, you get a free ship kit with your paid account, which is really, 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 really cool if you're a brand new collector or just new to this entire process. A ship kit will just make you feel better about sending your stuff in. As we just discussed, can be very unsettling for some people.
Definitely. Let me ask you this question. I know that it's a random question, and actually I've actually come across this myself, which is, I know you're in the senior series director, so you probably would have some insight in this. Is sending a book in to get signed. What's the best way? Because obviously you want to have some protection for the book. You want to let the individual that's doing the signing or the sketching or whatever it might be, you want to have almost like an open window, right? I know that myself, what I've done in the past has been I have it in my holder. I take an X-Acto knife. I cut out a little area where I want it to get signed. And I know there's kits and stuff now you can buy. It's like a little folder and stuff. But what is your recommendation as far as how to send in a book that's going to get signed?
Well, we're actually in the process of releasing our own version of a window bag.
Really? Okay.
Available for sale, which I think will help solve a lot of those problems.
Yeah, definitely.
But for the time being, how you're doing it is how I would suggest doing it, unless you want to send it in as is, and we have window bags at our facility, and we can rebag the books ourselves too. And the window bags that we're using have a good amount of space for the artist to choose where they want to sign or remark the book.
Awesome. Okay, that was a question for me, because I think the first time I sent in books to get signed and stuff, I was kind of, I'm like, how do I do it? How do I make sure my books are protected? I'm sending in 3. Do I want to have the window open? Do I want to put a piece of paper in between? Because by the time I was going to send in the books, it was like, I think I had like a day to send them in. I waited to the last minute. And I didn't have time to order anything on the internet with little packages with the cover in the front and this and that. And I was kind of freaking out. I think I must have gone through I don't know, 6 different prototypes myself, because I was like, what do I do? But I think that's really cool that you mentioned
coming so soon.
That's fantastic. Actually, I will be one of the buyers to buy a ton of those, because I just think that those things are so helpful.
I will send you some so you can do a video for your followers to get a sense of what those new window bags will look like.
I will accept your offer, Brittany, and I will not say no.
Okay.
I will never say no to that. But no, Brittany, I don't want to keep you too long. I know that I did ask you a bunch of questions. I really do appreciate you taking the time, because I know you definitely are a busy individual. Guys, if you guys aren't familiar with CGC, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are, go check out their website. Like I said, there's a lot of things that Brittany mentioned there on the website, on YouTube, on different things that you can find info about. I just think, me personally, you guys have great holders. The slabs that the books come in, they're sturdy. The books are well protected. I have nothing but great things to say. I have not had a bad experience. Any book that I've gotten has been, in my opinion, graded fairly, has come to me in properly, in the way that it should, in every way, from the way it's packaged to, like I said, the holder itself. And they're just I don't know. And back to your job, which is the signature series, and I think I mentioned to you before, is there's something about getting a yellow label that is just a little extra exciting. I get excited with any book I get, but when you get that yellow label, I don't know, there's just something that it's a little more.
You just knew that your book was in that person's hands, just like 2 weeks earlier. Like Mark Bagley was just holding your book. sketching your book for you just 2 weeks ago. He had it. It's cool. It's exciting, and it's something fun, you know? It's just something.
It definitely does. I do think there's a difference in, at least in me, the way I feel when I send in a book to get graded, and when I send in the book to get signed and graded. There's just, I don't know, there's that, it's like, I think you mentioned, it's like Christmas, you know, and you're waiting for that package. It's just so cool. It's just so cool.
I do. I think that all the in-house signings this year, I think it's been fun they get announced, and you go through your collection and what books do I have by that person, and you send them off, and you almost forget about it until you see the signings show up on social media, and you watch for your books, and then all of a sudden they're at your house again, and it's cool. It's like little mini Christmases throughout the year when it's been kind of a year for everybody. It's a little something happy, and I'm so happy that we were able to offer it, and I definitely want to continue.
I completely agree with you. And like you said, it's in rough and tough times, you know, where uncertainty and everything's going on. I think that waiting for that package is, especially when you're obsessive like me, and you hit the constantly. It's horrible. And I'm like, it hasn't moved in the last 2 hours. I know it's not going to move in the last 2 hours, but I still hit refresh, and I have no idea why. It's my obsessiveness, and which can be good and bad sometimes. It depends on what I'm doing. But no, Brittany, once again, I really do want to thank you for taking the time. I want to thank everybody for watching. Brittany is great, Senior Series Director at CGC. You know, amazing job. I wish I had your job, but you know, you're great at it. So I'm happy that you have it.
I'll recommend you. I'll recommend you take my place whenever it's time for me.
let me know when you're ready to go, and then I'll buff up my resume.
You got it.
But once again, thank you, Brittany. Thank you, guys. Brittany, stay with me for a little bit after I log off, and I will see you guys later. Don't forget to hit that bell. That's that, you know, button that you have to hit. I don't think I think the new rules for YouTube, you can't say it anymore. There's some weird rules now. But hey, guys, thank you so much, and